They ranged from, in the beginning, from what are we doing here? I don't really want to be here. My parents said I had to be here. To, oh, this is going to be really cool. We get to play games, Mr. Bomer. And we made it fun. They got a snack after school every day, and we gave that to them down in my room, and we did some fun things. Then we walked to the computer lab and worked. And there were comments about, well, let's pick out your animals, your buddies, and which ones are they? And they were imitating their buddies after the first session, there were high fives whenever a kid finished a level. They had a great time doing it until they reached a point, and we call it hitting the wall in Harbor Beach. They would hit the wall with BrainWare. And you could always tell when that day came, because that meant that they were at a place in the software that they couldn't do it automatically anymore.
Really
they had to work. They were starting to burn brain cells, and they had to work. And then it became a matter of motivation and keeping them going. The program itself does that to a great degree, but for some kids, you need to keep encouraging them. We had other kids that some of our middle school kids that brought in their science test and would say, Mr. Bomer, this is the first A I've ever gotten on a test. And so we stopped, rather than work on BrainWare for a few minutes, we stopped and asked the question, what did you do different to get an A? I don't know. I didn't do anything different. I said, well, are you taking notes in class? Did you study your notes? Well, yeah, I read my notes, but you know what? This is the first time I ever took notes. I didn't know I knew how to take notes before. And we were talking to a student that was a D and E student, and by the end of the 12 weeks, he was an A and B student. And I will tell you that this past school year, in chatting with him, he was still an A, B, and C student. He came from a home who education wasn't a big deal for, but he had an enthusiasm during the course of taking BrainWare, and it started at about the end of the first week, middle of the second week, that his attitude toward class and what was going on at school was starting to change.